Hello everybody, this is Shane R. Monroe with NVIdia Shield Zone. We're going to show you how to upgrade the Shield Tablet K1 rooted from 1.1.1 to 1.2 while preserving your data and restoring root. First thing you're going to need to do is check over our tutorial. There'll be a link, and you'll need to prepare a micro SD card or an OTG type device, which is what we're going to use today. Some sort of a storage medium that has 2 files on it. That's the full OTA upgrade and the Super SU version that's on our website. So prep your device, be it a micro SD card. I recommend if you're going to use a micro SD, do not use the one you typically use. Use something new. Or if you have a nice OTG type device, that also works. We're going to be using this, but it's very, very similar. So first, let's take a look at the tablet in the state it is in now. Okay, so right now, we'll check out the tablet. You can see it's in 1.1. And you can also see that we are rooted. All right. So right now we are being pressured, sort of pressured, to upgrade to 1.2. But we're not going to do that. We're going to use the copy that we have installed on our external storage device. So the first thing you need to do is drop this guy into Fastboot. So let's power off. Hold down the lower volume rocker and tap the power button for about 3 seconds. It'll come on and you will get the bootloader screen. Plug it into my PC, which is already prepared with minimal ADB and Fastboot. Let's get you a nice good view of the screen here. So I don't have Twrp installed. If you already have Twrp installed, then you don't really have to worry about this part. I don't like it to be in there full time because I don't really need it. I only need it to install root. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Fastboot Boot. I'm going to use the 3.0 Twrp Multi-ROM, the latest one from 4/10 of 2016. This is again available inside of the tutorial on NVIdiaShieldZone.com. Alright, so now that we've got that going on, you'll notice that on the tablet it says it is going to be booting. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. There you go. It takes about 20 seconds to boot into Twrp, so we'll give it just a moment. And here we are in Twrp 3.00. Modified for Shield K1. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to insert your micro SD card or your OTG storage. Now, the K1 version of Twrp is very, very flaky. The UI doesn't seem to respond even though it is responding to your touch commands. So I'm going to try to show you the easiest way around that. So the first thing you need to do is mount that device that you just stuck in there. So we're going to go to Mount. I'm going to go ahead and mount the system and my OTG. I'll hit the refresh button, and you'll notice that they're all checked now. Alright. And you'll notice I tapped it, but nothing happened. So we'll just tap back again. There we go. So now I'm going to go to Install. And it's already selected for my storage. In my case, it's OTG. Yours might be micro SD. You'll notice when you hit select storage that maybe it doesn't come up with something. Just tap in here until you see things start to come up. There you go. And that'll let you select your item. If you're using the micro SD card, you'll choose that. If you're using USB OTG, which is what I'm doing here, you go ahead and choose that. Now the 2 files that you need from the website are here, which is the full 1.2 recovery, as well as the latest beta Super SU 2.71. So the first thing we need to do is install the full OTA update. Now sometimes if you tap it, it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. You may have to tap it more than once or fiddle around with the UI to make it work. Swipe to install, and you'll see it'll actually install the update sort of sideways. Instead of using the official update process, which won't work because you're rooted and have a modified boot image, now it's going to do it via Twrp, which will just let it go right on through. This will take a moment or two. Now, the important part to remember is don't automatically hit reboot after this. You want to go ahead and flash Super SU immediately following this. It's still patching. There you go. And if you're looking for progress, there's a little tiny bar right here. You won't notice it right away, but there's a little tiny bar with little crawling white boxes. Let me see here on the camera. There you go. So you can tell that it's doing something. Because sometimes, you know, especially if this is the first time you're doing something crazy with your tablet, it's a little unnerving. Now, your screen may time out, so either tap it every now and then or hit power and then swipe to unlock it. If you just tap it every now and then, it'll keep it awake. You can tell it does take a moment or two. Verified, script succeeded. Now, just don't hit reboot. Otherwise, you'll have to go through this whole booting to Twrp again. Right? So I hit back, which actually worked this time. Now I'm going to go ahead and do Super SU, which again worked. It's amazing. It's a miracle. I'm going to go ahead and swipe and install that. There you go. Scroll up so you can see what's going on. Now, if you don't mount everything properly, then you may see some red items in here, especially if you don't mount like data or system. You may see some red error messages on here. That means it didn't work. Go back before you reboot this on this next step. Go ahead and go back, hit the back button, go back, remount it, and then redo that step again so that Super SU gets installed right. So we don't see any red characters on here, so that looks good. Everything looks fantastic. We're ready to reboot. Now I hit Reboot System, poof, it's going to reboot. I can go ahead and remove my OTG, and we will patiently await the boot. I'd like to point out that this can take a considerable amount of time for this first boot. If you've done any of the other tutorials, I like to give you guys some sort of an idea as to how long to wait, but we'll be able to tell based on the video timeline exactly how long it takes. The next step after this is to simply verify. Now, you may get a reboot like that. Don't panic. Super SU does do a couple of boots. That's okay. So don't panic if you see a reboot. It's one of the reasons why we're just recording this whole thing instead of speeding it up, just to help show you some of the milestones and indicators you're going to see as you're doing this process. Yeah, if you don't have one of these guys, by the way, we'll just do a little public service announcement. If you don't have one of these things, these are the greatest tools ever to have in terms of hacking your tablet and equipment. It's a 64 gigabyte flash drive that has standard PC style USB on one side. On the other side, it's got OTG or micro SD, USB plug rather. So I can pop this in the computer and immediately read it, and then immediately come over here and plug it into my tablet and be able to read it. This is a very, very versatile tool. If you don't have one of these, it's like a necessary evil for anybody's collection. All right, so this is normal. You will see that Android does this upgrade process. The more apps you have pre-installed, the longer this takes. This can actually take a considerable amount of time. So don't be too impatient, but at least you can see it's actually counting up. You have some idea. Once this process is done, we'll go ahead and we'll verify that we're on 1.2, that we still have root, and that our apps are still exactly where we left them. It's moving right along, 48 of 115. Now, each time there's an over-the-air upgrade, you'll need to do this same thing until something drastically changes in the model. But for the most part, we're probably good until the next major revision of Android. Once N comes along, then everything will get whacked out and we'll have to redo all these tutorials again. But you should be good for the foreseeable future using this process. Now, the biggest problem that people might have is, where do you get the OTAs to sideload like this through Twrp? You can download them yourself if you'd like to. I'm not going to give a tutorial on that because it's actually rather a pain in the butt to get a hold of those files. XDA will have them usually within a couple of days of the OTA, and I'm going to try to do my best to keep NVIDIA Shield Zone up to date also with the latest full OTAs. Now that I know how to do them and pull them off during the upgrade, I can do that for you guys too and update this tutorial. I probably won't update this video, but the video will work the same way. You'll just have slightly different file names. Okay, we're now at 98 of 115. We're in good shape. Now again, if you already had Twrp flashed and as a permanent part of your system, you wouldn't even need the PC to be involved. I use the PC only to boot to Twrp during this process. If you keep it flashed all the time, you really only need the micro SD card or the OTG drive to store those files, and you're good to go. Okay, I don't know why the last ones always seem to take longer. Just about at 100 of 115. I want you guys to see that this definitely works and everything's clean and there's no weird Google process errors or anything strange like that. All right, finally 100 of 115. I feel like I've flashed this K1 like 700 times. Eventually it's just going to poop out on me. I mean, I spent pretty much all day for the tutorial, writing tutorials and experimenting and doing things. I've been back to 0.0, I've been back to 0.0, I've been back to 1.1.1 like 100 times today. And then I decided I'd go ahead and film a full process so that you guys, I know you guys like video tutorials. I'm a little more partial to text-based tutorials as long as they're well written and contain all the information I need. All right, where are we at here? 110 of 115. So the cool part of if you did have Twrp flashed, you wouldn't actually even need a Windows PC. All you need to do is be able to copy two files, download two files from the internet and put it on your storage device. That means you could use a Mac, you could use Linux, you could use a Chromebook for this process. You don't necessarily need a PC. But again, I like to just keep Twrp off if possible. Don't need it there all the time. 111 of 115, 112 of 115. Originally, I wasn't going to restore all my apps this last time so you guys could see this go a little bit faster, but part of the importance of doing this type of a process this way is that your data and everything is kept. Previously, we were having everybody roll back to the last full stock recovery and then accepting the OTA. That still works. You can still do that. It's still safe. But a lot of people don't want to have to reinstall their tablets every time. All right. Fantastic. The reboot process is done. We have no notifications telling us we need to upgrade, so that's good. Let's go take a peep. Okay, we still have our developer options. That's good. Let's go to About Tablet. And let's see. As you can see here, it's 1.2. So we are in good shape. Let's go check our root. Super SU. And we didn't get any warning about no binary found, so we are good. And there you have it, folks. That will get you your K1 upgraded from 1.1.1 rooted to 1.2 rooted with no data loss and no corruption or problems on the reboot. This is Shane R. Monroe with NVIDIA Shield Zone. We'll see you next time.